Um, you guys asked me to put down a little bit about my experiences for you, so I will. You're probably going to have to bear with me because there's every chance that I could just sail off into the sunset sunset on a tangent. But if I do, you can just jiggle each other a wee bit and go, oh, it's all right. Her brain exploded, which is a really good excuse in this day and age. So bear with me and we'll get on fun. So a little bit of backstory. It was the opening weekend of a show my friend Fee and I were doing, and this show had been the beam of glorious sunlight at the end of a really, really long summer. So we'd had jackal rehearsal time, but we'd worked our asses off. And we didn't think the audience would know any of the crazy stuff, like the fact that the sets had been painted at 11:30 that morning and they were still a bit damp around the edges if we leaned on them. We were feeling good. The preview went well. I'm not going to say that I wasn't absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified before our audience of 10 people. But it went well, it was well received, and so we were feeling pretty good. Headed off to lunch, came back, did a few little, warm-ups in the dressing room, and then my friend goes down to the stage, and I'm heading down the stairs, and I remember thinking, this is it. Just a few more hours, and you can have a drink, and you can have a sleep, which are the two most important things in the universe. And looking back now, it's probably one of the greatest cases of pre-show jinxing in pro-am theatre. We like to think of it as profit share. But the first act went well. It went really well. I now know that it happened towards the end of the first act, which, sorry, I got sidetracked. The it is, well, it's what I like to call the time my brain exploded, which isn't too catchy, but it was that, or I spent 4 years in Melbourne and all I got was this lousy brain hemorrhage, which they wouldn't let me put on a t-shirt at the hospital. Shame on them. So, interval. I came back from interval with a headache. And it was getting worse and worse, but I kept going, as you do, kept pushing myself and an increasingly confused Fiona through the second act, because by that point I don't think I was saying words. I remember sounds. I remember sounding vaguely like a Dalek. And I remember going and going because I didn't know how to stop. The director started yelling, which wasn't unexpected. He was an absolute prick, but a little unusual in front of an audience. And then the curtain's coming down and we're at the hospital and people are going through my pockets, which I found out later was to get my phone for emergency contacts, obviously. But at the time, I'm told I didn't take it too well, so apologies to everybody involved there. It was self-defense training. Yeah, then it all gets a little hazy. I remember the ED. I remember throwing out a few very poorly received jokes. The nurses, any allergies on your father's side, mother's side, previous history, any chance you might be pregnant? Not unless it's a miracle! Turns out sex jokes are unexpected and not entirely well received in the emergency department during an emergency. They tried to put me in a CT, despite the fact I told them that I was highly claustrophobic. I remember that. I don't remember much. I remember that. Anything smaller than a lift and I become a nut job. But they tried to shove me in anyway, so more fool them. They learnt the hard way. I remember waking up with 3-day stubble on my legs and finding out I still had, that really hideous stage makeup on my face. So that was manky. I remember my brother coming in to read me Harry Potter, which is unexpected for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I didn't know that he knew what Harry Potter was. Secondly, I don't think he'd picked up a book since the end of high school. So, I'm a Slytherin, by the way. But it was nice. It was really nice. He didn't think I was awake, but I was. And that's kind of it. Cold, hungry, a little confused, and then I'm here. So lessons we can take away from this. Anyone, no matter how beautiful or fabulous, can be affected by the traumas of unexpected brain hemorrhaging. And SpongeBob is infinitely, even better on drugs. Check it out. Wait, see what I did there? That's right. Yeah. That's my life. Brain exploded. Harry Potter. SpongeBob.